Blues their setup, and they had a really cool mic arm for their Blue mic arm. It looked really beautiful, and I looked on Amazon, like, holy crap. And I saw it in person, and when I moved it, it would move like really easily and stay there. I'm like, oh, I want that. And it looked really, I could show you, but when I went to Amazon to order it, I saw that hey, we got some people in the chat. Gwendolyn in the house, Jacob, Luke Milius. Hey guys, we're gonna talk about CES here in a minute. Tech for your needs. Good to see you guys. But when I went on Amazon, there's like 2 very prominent videos, and it shows someone lifting the mic stand and then immediately like just falling out. It's like, like after a month, it goes terrible. All right, Dennis from Sweden. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, that's why I went with the Rode arm, because I just like looked at like the longevity of the reviews, and then like the Blue one did look cool, but it like had like no reviews.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not gonna, I just like the way it looked and the way it moved. Like this one's fine. The one I have now is fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
I don't need another one.
I'm a little salty that BMAC got some like free Rode stuff.
Oh yeah, well he wasn't the only one. There was other people. All right, are you about ready to start?
Almost. 1 second. Let me just tweet that out. Hopefully that's the correct link.
Oh yeah, if you want to tweet it out, I can. Wait, what's going on? Oh yes. Let me find. Can I tweet directly from here? Let's see. Maybe not. I guess not. Let me go to Twitter. Everyone, thanks for joining us for the live stream. That's so cool. I always think it's awesome when you guys and gals show up. Y'all the best.
Especially on a Sunday.
Yeah, we're all late because I fell asleep. Okay, hold on. Here it is. Copy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tweet it out. And then
apparently, Seductive Sunday is trending in New Jersey Twitter.
I saw that. What is that about?
What is that about? Oh, hey, I shouldn't have clicked that.
What?
Some people are definitely taking advantage of that hashtag to promote themselves.
Oh.
Just put it that.
Oh, really? Where does it in here? I see Seattle snow impeached for life. Let's see. Where's the? Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on.
Oh, it's so hot.
How do I?
Awful.
LGBT. Oh, Impact tile looks cool. Where's Seductive Sunday? I don't even see it. Seductive Sunday. Is that what it is? Whoa. Hey now.
Yeah.
Holy Moesha. There's some extra stuff going on there. All right. Well, that's enough for me. Tell me when you're ready.
Let me just check my levels. I feel like I haven't done this in forever. It's only been a week, though, to be honest.
I know, right? It seems like it's been a million years.
That's muted. That's good. That's good. All right. Do the countdown, and I am ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, record.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GadgetCast, baby. I am your host, Gregory McFadden, joined by the man who saw it all at Las Vegas. You know what happens at Vegas stays at Vegas, apparently. Travis MTP.
What's going on, everybody? Wow, just so tired. But yes, very much enjoyed my trip, and we'll definitely get into that. And if you're new to the show, welcome. And we also simultaneously live stream on YouTube, youtube.com/GadgetCast. So if you hear us talking to people that aren't talking, it's because we're talking to people in our chat. So that's just a thing. But yes, so super excited to be back on GadgetCast. Looking forward to crushing CES info.
Yeah. Oh man. So this is the episode where Travis talks and I just stare because I didn't go to CES. Travis did. He saw, I'm guessing, a lot of stuff Like I've been trying to keep up with the news, and like there was just so much stuff there, some interesting stuff there. I saw a lot of people posting about TCL getting into the phone
Yes.
business. A lot of people are excited for that. Look like some solid phones at very affordable pricing, which I think is one of the topics we actually covered on one of the last GadgetCast before Travis actually left for CS. We're talking about how affordable these phones are getting and how good they're getting at these cheap prices. And it looks like TCL, who made like a really good name for themselves in the TV business, offering affordable TVs, they're getting into the phone game. So that is interesting.
Yeah, they had a large presence. Hey, Daniel in the chat, and then Luke wants to know how old you really are because you decided to tweet some silliness.
I wanted to know how old people thought I was, and then someone said 23, and I said yes, that's the right answer. And then someone said 33, and I was like, oh, I got both ends, you know.
So let me real quick go over like just some of my personal experiences. Then I do want to talk about TCL because they ended up having such a large. They just became like one of the major players in CES, which really kind of surprised me. I really wasn't expecting that, but they really had a large part of CES. So real quick, couple things in case none of you follow me on Twitter or anything. On my way there, I actually took first class flights because I don't like to fly. So I like to be comfortable when I do fly. And I get to the airport and I'm bumped from first class. So I've never heard of that before. I mean, they're calling me like, I'm sorry, we have to bump you from first class. I'm like, wait a minute. I know some people get bumped up to first class. I never heard someone basically say, listen, you paid all this money, you can no longer sit where you paid for. So they were very apologetic. But that was the way that my trip started. Then I get into Vegas and land, and the first thing that my Uber driver wants to talk about is the artificial intelligence, of course, which is big in CS, a lot of artificial intelligence. And one of
so your Uber driver just like immediately he's like, hey, AI.
He said, what are you here for? And I'm like, oh, here for CES. And he goes, oh yeah, there's some really interesting artificial intelligence. They're gonna do like artificial intelligence sex toys and stuff. I'm like, oh bro, I just landed. Can you give me a couple minutes to recoup before you start talking about AI sex toys? So then I get into my to the MGM and I check in, and the dude that I check in with, he wants to talk forever. Like he tells me the history of Vegas and how he was there when Tupac got shot, and I mean just everything. I mean he had all. It took me so long to check in because he wanted to tell me every story about Vegas ever. Nice guy, but I upgraded my suite, which was cool. And then I kind of got into CES, which was really, really interesting. So I met up with a couple of friends, Jeff from El Jefe Reviews, Jason from Painfully Honest Tech, and a couple of other people, a couple of other creators. And now Jeff and I have met each other several times. So Jeff, is familiar with me. But what I was not ready for was all of the people who recognized me that had the same comment over and over and over again. And that is that I was taller in person than they thought I was. Which kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. Everyone was like, you're so tall. Like, well, I thought I looked like, I don't know. I didn't know what to say to that. Like people kept saying that, like, oh, you're so tall. So what was interesting about that is the seventh person in a row to say that was Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm over it. Everyone just thinks I'm short. So whatever. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I don't know what else.
Why would they think you're short?
I have no idea. It must have to do with my camera angle. Must have to do with my camera, the camera angle that I use in my videos. I don't know. But here's a real quick story about being recognized with Jason from Painfully Honest Tech. So we were real quick running back to the MGM. It was me, Jeff, and Jason from Painfully Honest Tech, and we were going through the main lobby, and some guy was looking at us, and I saw him like directly staring at us. And as I'm walking, I hear him go, "Hey, I know you guys." And I look, I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, I watch your videos." I'm like, "Oh, cool. I love to meet people that that watch the videos." I thought that was cool. And then he sees Jason coming up behind me, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I watch your videos too." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he said, which I thought was interesting, that he watched the collab that Jason and I did last year. Now, real quick for context, the collab Jason and I did last year was about the Note 10. And it was before the Note 10 even came out. We were talking about the pros and cons. So Jason from Painfully Honest Tech, if you know, sometimes can be negative about things. And so can I on occasion. And before the Note came out, I think we were fair, but a little bit on the negative side about some aspects of that phone. And the guy goes, yeah, we were watching. I've been watching your stuff. I love why I watch all of your videos. And we were like, cool. And he goes, I work for Samsung. I'm like, oh. And then he goes, I watched your collab. I cringed a little bit at certain parts of it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of awkward. But he liked it. So it was really interesting. You never know who's watching your stuff. That I thought was really interesting. A really fun little thing. But TCL. So TCL was actually one of the first talks I went to, which was when they announced their phone lineup. Every phone, including the 5G phones they announced, are under $500. And to me, that is, and I think we talked about this, that is the new battleground for smartphones in 2020, at least on the Android side of things. It's not so much about the flagships. Those will either be sold or not sold to the people who tend to buy those things. But as people start to see the value that you can get for $500, that's where a lot of sales are going to be made or not made. And TCL, as you said, came out of the woodworks years ago by selling value, the value conscious customer, their 4K televisions, and became like the second or third, I can't remember what they said, second or third most sold television in all of North America. Like they're now up there. They came out of nowhere and all of a sudden took Vizio. I remember Vizio.
Yeah.
It took their spot, and now they're selling a boatload of that stuff. Well, TCL actually also has something to do with BlackBerry or something. They're like same company or something. But now they want to get into the phone business, which right off the bat, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. But having said that, only about 4 years ago, getting into the television business seemed like a bad idea. I was like, yeah, it's too late. And it wasn't. They completely have like started to take over. Their presence at CES was large. They had signs everywhere. And I'm talking about in Vegas, not just in the conference. To give you context, the CES is not in just the convention center. It is everywhere in Vegas. It is miles apart. It is so big. I don't know if it's possible to see it all. Like if you spend every day just going through if you wanted to even remember anything, I would definitely say it's impossible to go see it all. There's just too much. There's too many hotels. There's too many convention centers. There's too much to see. Just to give you a little bit of context, what do you think my Apple Watch said was the most amount of steps I took during my 3 days there? What's like your normal like everyday step thing?
For me, I mean, I'm trying to hit at least 10,000 for me.
And is that when you're like exercising on that same day?
Well, no, like some days I can like hit more. So if I'm like exercising like harder, like maybe like 14,000 kind of thing. But that's
okay,
just
so if you exercise 14,000, but you're always trying to get at least 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you got like I've been to like conventions before. I'm gonna say, should I go higher or lower? I'll go
be reasonable.
30,000.
Not quite that high, or at least that's what my Apple Watch said. From what I saw, it was 24,000. Which
yeah, that's a heavy day.
That's a very heavy day. And that was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. There's so much to see. There's other funny little things like Jeff from El Jefe Reviews is a mini celebrity. When we were going around, it's so funny to be standing there next to him and feeling almost invisible when I go to certain booths. But we would go to like the ear, because he does headphone and earbud reviews. We would go to those booths of some of the manufacturers, and they would ask to take his picture.
Wow.
The people who work there. The manufacturers would be like, can we get a picture with you? And I'm just standing there like, I'll hold the camera. But I mean, like I was invisible, but he was like the star. It was super awesome. It really also made me think about like maybe I need to be a little bit more niched, because I was practically invisible compared to him.
Yeah,
really but TCL but TCL obviously spent a tremendous amount of money, because their party actually was one of the better parties too. They also had a bunch of creators, which I missed unfortunately, but and then also one of the parties I was at, MKBHD, was awarded was inducted into the Hall of Fame of something tech or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what kind of things did you want to talk about specific that you maybe saw? I mean, I didn't see everything. Like I said, it's impossible to see everything.
Yeah, it's a hard thing when we literally came into the show and it's like, the topic was like CES, and like I know Travis
Mm,
was there, so I mean, if there's anything you like, I like from watching it from home, like,
mhm.
it's a different experience, I'm sure, because you're actually on the show floor. So,
Yeah.
what you
So
see, like I'm kind of seeing like everything being announced, but I'm sure like what you see is a lot more selective. Um,
yeah, yeah. I
I think
mean, to
like
be
the big
honest,
trend this year was like there was like some more like foldable stuff. I don't know if you saw any of that. Um, I think like Lenovo and a couple other people came out with some like foldable like laptop kind of concepts or that are actually going to be released pretty soon.
yes. I saw the Lenovo one that Mr. Mobile did a video on while he was
Okay.
there. It was really cool.
You
I
saw that.
do think that, yeah, I think that foldable laptops make sense. I mean, I mean, they fold, right? Already.
Yeah, I think the hard part is, and I do think they make sense. I think the harder part is how they operate with like a keyboard, because most people with laptops they want like a nice keyboard there. And I've seen some like these concepts where they're actually like including like a keyboard you can put over it, and then when you have like a folding laptop, there's actually like different orientations you can put it in, so you can actually stand it up and then kind of like put like a wireless keyboard there. It's almost like a big desktop the way you have it. So
Mhm.
I've seen like different ways for that. But yeah, I think like I mean it remains to be seen if foldables are a thing, or if there'll be like 3D TVs and just kind of be like, oh, remember when they had those? But I
Mhm.
definitely think there's something there in these concepts. It's very, very early days, so it really is up to these manufacturers to get it right. But what did you like about the Lenovo folding laptop?
It just seemed really. It just made sense. Some of the foldable stuff we've seen, like especially for phones, minus the Motorola, which I think makes sense. I think that that clamshell kind of makes sense. Have just been like proof of concept ish. Which, by the way, tons of proof of concept tech there, which stuff that'll never see the light of day. I mean, Sony showing a car off doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I mean,
That was
okay.
crazy. I was like so ready for that conference. I remember we are talking about all this stuff before CES on GadgetCast, and I'm like, we're talking about like what we're excited for. And I'm like, I might be excited for the PlayStation 5. And like everyone's like,
Mhm.
no, that's not gonna be shown off at CES. They're like, oh, they're like ready to talk, and they're like building up to it. All of a sudden you see the PS5 logo. I'm like, the moment I've been waiting for. And then they like like it's gonna do this. And then they like walk off stage, they don't show it. I'm like, no, no, the one thing I was waiting for. All of a sudden, this Sony car rolls up on the stage. I'm like, what am I
What
watching?
the
What
heck
year
am I
is this?
watching? Yeah, there's so much like this tech that is proof of concept, or that like the really high end companies like Sony stuff just do like, hey, look what we can do, and then like never do anything with it. Others are like, look what we can do if we all work together. Let's think about making stuff like this, and that's cool.
Yeah,
Um, so it was interesting because you would see that a lot, but there were two pieces of tech that for whatever reason stick in my head because they're practical and they're something that I would use. Well, one more so than the other. And that was at this thing I was called Showstoppers, which is where some smaller companies will kind of show their wares off to essentially the media. One of them, super simple piece of hardware. It's maybe the size of, I mean, I can show you if you're watching YouTube, but maybe the size of an iPhone, like as far as the width and length. The thickness is a little bit thicker, but it was a wireless charger, and you could put it like underneath a table, and it would still charge through like the table, through like almost 2 inches of either wood or anything other than metal, like almost anything other than metal. It would charge your phone through. So you literally could like put it underneath something, and then without like if you've got a really nice table and you just mount it underneath the table, you could literally make that part of your table a wireless charger. I thought it was cool, just because it was something that makes something else function, and we all need to charge our phones. And speaking of charging our phones, I walked around the corner from that guy, and I talked to a guy. It looked like I don't know if he was on Kickstarter or something. I thought this was a brilliant idea. This guy has these little packs. They're, I don't even know what size you would say they are. Maybe the size of like a small candy bar, something ish. Maybe a little bit more rectangular. and they are one use. At first, I was like, "Why would you use this?" And then when I saw the twist, I'm like, "I'm in." They were one use battery packs, and he wants them to be at places like 7-Eleven, like a convenience store, sell them for about $2.50. So if let's say you're out and about and your phone is about to die. I mean, who hasn't gone through that? You go into the store and you grab one. Instead of one, you don't want to buy maybe you don't want to pay like $10 or $15 for a pack. You just need to juice up one time. You go in there, you grab one, plug it in your phone, and then it completely sucks all the energy out, gives you, your phone a little bit of battery, and then you unplug it. And then check this out. There's a wrapping around it. You unwrap it, and as you fold it around, it's this is so cool. It's like basically like an envelope. It's like an envelope that then you just put it into the mail, and then he recycles it. Like you just put it into that's it. And it's recyclable one-use battery packs for like $2.
Is it like an instant like charge? Like you plug it in and then like a couple seconds later, it's like juiced up?
So it's ready to go. You charge it and use it. You charge your phone, and then you put it in the mail when you're done. You don't throw it away. You put it in the mail, almost like a Netflix, almost like you're sending Netflix back. So that way, for the environment, he just recycles it and then just
that's what I was worried about when you tell me this. I'm like, oh, it sounds like a huge like waste of like
no, that's the cool thing.
Like if
he nails it back to it
at the end.
Yeah, so there's all different types of stuff you'll see like that. And then you'll see just ridiculous, like stupid stuff. But yeah, I mean, CES is just one of those like really cool stuff. Like, oh, I want to buy this tomorrow. Some of the things are out, but almost everything you see is not out. And some either will come out or maybe, and then a lot of it will never come out.
Like that Sony car, it's never coming out. Like it was cool. Like it might make sense, but it's never coming out. It was more of a way for Sony to be like, hey, we have technologies that we can put into these, future cars that are coming out for self-driving cars. It's like, Sony, they make cameras and stuff too, but a big bulk of Sony's money actually comes from like supplying out products. Like I believe all the iPhones and stuff, they use like Sony sensors for their cameras. And that's like a big component cost. They make a lot of money selling those sensors to people like Apple. And that's very much the play with the car. They did this whole concept car to show you all the cool technology that they have, that as a user, you might buy a car in 5 years and you might not really know that maybe there's some like Sony technology under the hood that's making this all go. It's a smart move for them. But the cool Sony car that you see on the outside that everyone wants the minute they roll it on the stage, it's probably never going to be a thing. You see that a lot with almost all this tech that's concept based. I know like Mercedes also like showed off like a really, really futuristic car, but they almost do that like every year. There's some car company showing off this car of the future, and it's a thing that just never comes out. Concept cars are there, and they're very like appealing, and you can see it. You can be like, oh, what a cool thing. I wish I could buy that. And then it's never available for sale. Or if it is for sale, it's so prohibitively expensive, you could forget about ever buying it. It's like for like a couple people, they forget about it, and then they move on to the next thing.
100%. And that's what a lot of the tech was that I saw. Like almost in some instances, the tech itself, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like the laptops were expensive.
And that's the hard part about CES. And we talked about that on last show. It's like, what are the technologies that are actually going to come to market? What is going to benefit consumers at this show? And I think the TCL phone play, that's obviously something. Yes, you're going to be able to get a TCL phone. I think they're going to be doing 5G phones for like $500.
Yeah,
that's going to be like, 5G in 2020. That's obviously going to be a huge push, especially with the iPhones. Apparently, they're going to be 5G. So, if you're a network out there and Apple's coming out with a 5G phone and your network's not ready, that's a potential to lose consumers. So the networks they have to be ready. These foldable devices, obviously, Samsung has them out. Razer's looking to get them out. Samsung's actually rumored to be bringing even more foldable devices out pretty soon. And now you have other PC manufacturers getting into this foldable race. And I agree with Travis. The foldable laptop makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider the form factor is already a foldable. There just isn't a screen where the keyboard is, but it makes sense for that device in particular because you're already folding it. Like that's its natural state. So if you could put a screen on there and then maybe shrink the size or maybe even make it even bigger and then put another screen on there, you could have either a huge screen or you can have a much more mobile laptop experience that maybe could be more tablet like for this mobile world that we're living in currently. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what's like something like, okay, so CES is obviously a big TV show and it always has been. Did you get a chance to see like any of the new emerging TVs, any 8K TVs?
Yeah, so when I was at the TCL conference, they announced their new, I think it was micro LED, technology, which looked amazing. A lot of 8K TVs. I saw like 100 and something inch 8K TV. Some of the most thin televisions I've ever seen in my life. TCL's leading the charge in televisions too. By the way, like I said, I can't get over the fact that also TCL showed off a foldable phone that they're not coming out with in the form factor that they showed it, but that they're like, again, hey, we can do that too. TCL watch this year is going to be in so many aspects of like everything. Like I only think of them as a TV company. By the end of this year, they're going to be everywhere. Now, whether or not any of their other devices are going to be like super awesome, but they essentially in their presentation were like, look, we want to do a lot of things. They gave us earbuds. They gave us TCL wireless earbuds. So they are trying to do more than just televisions now. But of course, their bread and butter is TVs. And of course, it looks spectacular. I still love my OLED. There are people that have, I didn't get to go to their setup where they had like a OLED next to their micro LED or whatever. But for me, OLEDs are still like supreme. But someone was telling me that the colors on the micro were really amazing, mini or micro LED, whatever they were. And I will just say that with the amount of money that TCL spent at CES, like in Vegas, like you literally will walk down the street and see TCL things on like the light up sides of like hotels and stuff. They are coming for people's necks. I walked away from there just TCL was a company that stuck out to me. The fact that they're trying to go into phones is interesting. The fact that they're not just staying in TVs, they're doing obviously headphones, they're doing a little bit of everything. They showed off a lot at CES and showed out because again, like I said, like their parties and stuff, things that they did with creators and such tell me that they are being serious about this. Like they're being super serious about this. And I am very interested in seeing what they are able to do this year. But yeah, their TVs looked great.
So this is micro LED technology, which is new, right? Like these are like some of the first TVs that are using that technology. How are like the black levels on that compared to like an OLED, which obviously they can dim the pixels individually. So it's like amazing black levels on OLEDs.
Well, the thing is like you also have to remember that all this stuff was set up as a demo, so it always
hard
looks
to kind of tell, right? With like the they got it set up perfectly. The floor lighting, you don't have something right next to compare it to, so everything looks amazing. And you really don't.
I mean, listen, if you walked in there, you saw their stuff, you'd be like, yeah, let me buy one of these. I mean, of course, because that's what they were doing, right? I mean, they didn't really answer. Well, okay, you get an 8K TV. What good is that when there's like no 8K content out there? I don't know. There's a couple people in chat saying, honestly, when I was a salesman at Best Buy, I'd always recommend TCL TVs to budget conscious consumers. There was no contest in quarter and concern price performance, which is true. I mean, price performance TCL was there, but TCL now looks to be, and not everyone does this right. So I'm worried about some companies that go, okay, well, we came to the party by being budget conscious, like TCL. Let's come out with a real high end thing. There's another company that did this with earbuds. They really made a name for themselves, and Jeff really promoted on his YouTube channel. And now they're coming out, and they're budget conscious. They were like under $99, and their new ones, which I've heard and they sound awesome, are like $200. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What brought you to the dance was a budget conscious product, and TCL same thing. What brought them to the dance is budget conscious products. The phones are budget conscious. I mean, even their 5G phone is going to be under $500, which means those other phones are going to be $300 and $400, which is crazy because what I saw, they looked great. They looked great. Now, if their cameras are trash, then it doesn't matter. But they mentioned multiple times how good their cameras were going to be. They let us touch them, but didn't let us actually interact with them without a guy like right there. So I can't speak to any of that because they're not ready yet. They said they'll see more. We'll see more from Mobile World Conference. But what brought them to the dance is being budget conscious. And I hope they continue to do that because I think that's where the wins in 2020 come. I don't think that's going to be any different. I think it'll be the same for Apple. I think their biggest wins will come from like the iPhone 11, if they do the SE2, like all those things. Everything in this kind of mild price point are going to be the biggest wins for these companies this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned like the danger of positioning yourself as a more budget friendly and then going for the premium market. You mentioned earlier on in the show, Vizio used to be known for like the TVs to get if you're looking for a budget, but they actually made that play of they were only known for budget TVs, and then they started getting into the premium market. And like you said, like TCL came in and ate their lunch at the budget market. They went to go focus on a new premium market, and they kind of forgot about the lower end that brought them all like this fame and all like this like recognition. And then, like you said, TCL just comes in, and all of a sudden there's a new budget champion out there. If you go on like any TV recommendations for the price, if you're looking for that $600 to $800 TV, it's always TCL. And now TCL has to navigate that too. Now they're coming out with micro LED. That's not a cheap technology. They're going to be going for this premium experience. If they forget about the low end, because there's not as much money to be made when you're selling those more budget products. You can if you make it up in volume, but there's more money to be made on the premium side if you can navigate that correctly. But it always seems like that's a really hard thing for companies to shift to. I think about Google when they had the Nexus line. That was like a very popular line, and that was mostly because they were great phones at a great price. All of a sudden, they bring out the Pixel line, and it does a lot of things really well, like the camera, but it never really sold in the quantity that you might expect those phones to, coming from someone like Google, because people got so used to Google as they make great mid-range budget phones. And now it's kind of, but we actually see Google get back into that now with like the 3A and potentially this Pixel 4A coming out, where people, critically acclaim like, hey, this is a really good phone for $400. And they sold a lot more of those than they did their premium offering.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right. Vizio was the jam for many years. And now I don't even see their stuff very often. So I think, TCL spent a lot of money. See, that's what I can't get over. I can't get over that, because for a budget-minded company, I should not be able to walk down the strip and see cars that are just draped in TCL, and like the bus stops have TCL, and I'm like, this is a tremendous amount of money. Now, of course, if you're going to spend the money, I guess that would be it, because then you got people like me talking about them, right? And then to our award-winning podcast that we have, that makes, I mean, that's an investment, right? So I was just blown away that I saw more TCL advertisements than I saw Samsung, or I didn't even see any Apple stuff. It was really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're coming to make a name for yourself, you got to spend the money on those ads. And maybe Samsung and all these other established companies don't really have to go as hard into that. But yeah, TCL, I mean, I just saw them covered so much. They had a big presence this year. Definitely, even from sitting here not going to the show, like what people mentioned was TCL a lot, and a lot of the coverage I saw was TCL. Did you see anything else? Any other weird tech you want to talk about before we?
I saw robots, man.
All right, talk about these robots. If you don't know, Travis, I think has like a unrealistic fear of like robots coming to take over one day.
Unrealistic? Wait a minute. I made a video. All right. First of all, I made a video about this on my channel like half a year ago or something, and part joking, but really not really. These things are everywhere now. And I think where I saw the most robots were like there's some agricultural like robot things and stuff. But their robots were everywhere, man. And people are hacking stuff all the time, and how people can't be worried about this. It really, it's going to be the biggest I told you so ever. And those things start coming after us like Terminator 2. I mean, people can laugh all they want, but I mean, we're setting these things up in everywhere. And it's like, wow. You're not. I said, just tell me where the reset button is, so if it comes and tries to attack me, I can hit that thing right quick. Because I need to know.
What kind of robots did you see? Did you see the Bally Samsung one?
I saw a video of that, but I actually saw like some standing ones, which made me feel weird.
Like some like big ones.
Yeah, I put a video, I think on Twitter, of this thing that looked like a freaking like big animal thing. I mean, it was shaped like an animal, like it had 4 legs and a thing. And I was like, no. I turned around and went the opposite direction. I took a video of it and walked away from it. I'm like, no, I don't want that. We don't need that. What do we need it for? We don't need it for that.
We need it to do manual labor and stuff.
There are some things we could use robots for. However, we're making robots to do things we don't need them to do. That little Bali thing is a joke until you realize that thing can go around and just follow you around like some type of creepy little creeper. And then send it to its bigger brother, which is the toy in Johnny's room that can then bite your nose off. I don't know. We're getting to the point where we don't need some of this stuff. We really don't. Some of us, there's a point where we just say no.
I don't know. Get a robot, bring you a drink, according GadgetCast.
If you're looking, I'll tell you one thing. If you're looking for, I mean, they're already kind of out, but if you're looking for earbuds, there's so many freaking earbuds coming out. Like, and almost all of them have noise cancellation. So many. Apple, I think, has completely legitimized this as a market, because like there were entire booths that's all they were.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wasn't there the last couple of years, but my guess is that was not always the case until AirPods really started gaining steam.
The audio revolution that AirPods brought, and like you mentioned El Jefe, who does like these audio reviews all the time, and I look at his channel, I see like all like the different earbuds he has on his channel, like all these great choices now, and it's like, wow, like this is a space that just like exploded with like new products, and people want them now because there's no headphone jacks on their phones, and it's a hot item to be in this earbud market. We see that because every major company has their own earbuds now. Amazon has them, Apple, Microsoft has earbuds, guys. Come on, like
Microsoft, TCL,
this is a big deal.
Freaking,
Microsoft is making them.
I saw Billboard. I don't know who they combined with, but they had like earbuds. Billboard, the magazine. I'm like, no. What?
The magazine had earbuds?
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro. It's not necessary. You don't need to do that. I don't understand.
So any AI stuff you see at CES? Anything cool like that?
I actually did a video today that was sponsored by ARM. There's a lot of AI stuff there, but the one I did the video on today is about this AI thermostat, which seems very reasonable. Like this is a very good use of like AI. So I have an Ecobee thermostat, which I love. For those of you that are in the YouTube chat, you'll be able to see what I'm going to show you. If you're not, you'll have to look up the Ecobee room sensors. But for those of you on YouTube, you can see this right here is a sensor for my Ecobee thermostat. What it does is it can tell what the temperature is in the room that it's in and if someone's there. It's like a motion sensor. And the cool thing about that is it sends the information back to the thermostat, and the thermostat knows, okay, in the living room, or right now I'm in the office. In the office, there's one person in there. There's no one else in any of the other rooms, and the temperature in that room is this. But I'm set to make the temperature this. Now, if you know anything about the way houses work, not every room are uniformly the same temperature. So it knows that the temperature that I want it set at is not the same in this room as it is in other rooms when there are not people. So it will turn the heat or coolness up to match what I've set it for, no matter how it affects other rooms, because there's no one else in those other rooms, because it knows that I'm in this room, right? So but that's not AI. That's just a sensor. There's the one that I did today, AmbiClimate. This one uses AI because you tell it at first like how you feel. It's not like what temperature you want. You just tell it how you feel. Are you hot, cold, whatever. And then it tracks like who's in the house and who's not. And then it realizes, well, Travis says he feels cold, even though it's still 73 degrees in the house, when normally 73 during summertime, he feels okay. And that might be because of the humidity, or it might be because of some other thing, but it'll still realize what that is because of the time of day. And again, the factors may be humidity or whatever, time of day or whatever, and then adjust the temperature to something that makes me feel warm, because we may think, oh, if I just set it to 74, I'm always going to feel the same. That's not true. At winter time, that feels different than the summertime. It just does for some reason. So this is to take that out of your hands and not have to worry about the number. You just tell it how you feel, and then it changes everything based on that. I liked that. I thought that was really cool.
I need that. That's so true. Like you're trying to set the temperature throughout the year, and it's like never right. You're right. It's like 74 in the winter is very different from 74 in the summer.
Yeah. So that video just went live about an hour ago or so. And if you're listening to the podcast, go check that out. It's a really interesting technology.
Yeah. That's awesome. Any AR? Do you get any AR experience? I saw some like stuff announced for like augmented reality or virtual reality. You play around with any of that stuff?
I personally didn't, but Andrew Edwards did with another one with AI,
Okay.
where it's these glasses you put on, and it's augmented reality, but it uses, instead of having, the problem with like a lot of AR is that if you put the glasses on, they tend to be really big, right? Because the processing
Yeah.
takes place in there. These look more almost like sunglasses because the processing takes place in your phone. So that offloads a lot of the processing power and trying to figure out, hey, if there's a zombie off to your left or right or something like that, which I think is really cool. I think that makes sense. Being able to use your phone, which has a tremendous amount of processing power for any of that stuff, makes sense. Like offloading that maybe via Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi connection so that you just communicate, the information to the display device. That's clutch, man. We're carrying around mini supercomputers in our wallets and pockets every single day. So why not use some of that processing power to do these other things that these other devices would need to be large to try to put the processors in when the phone has all that you need. Oh, and battery life. So I can tell you, if I had been using an Android primarily, battery life during Vegas, I would have never gotten through an entire day. My iPhone 11 Pro Max barely got me through a day every single day. And the reason why that's interesting is because I don't normally charge my iPhone, except for every other day. I'm able to get 2 days full out of a charge on my iPhone 11. But in Vegas, because of, I think, all the things going on there, not only my usage, but with all the radio waves and stuff, I was barely getting through the day, but I was able to. And I know, based on other conferences I've been to where I've had my a Galaxy Note, there's no way I would have survived CES in one day. So iPhone 11 Pro Max for the win. Battery life.
Ooh. Yeah, those conferences, like any event where there's like so many people on like their cellular phone, it's like, like drains the battery like crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're probably like taking like photos and videos a lot, just using your phone in general,
Yeah.
Oh man, Travis.
So next year you got to go, man.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, what's the best CES party? That's what I want to know.
Well, that last one was really cool. If you've seen pictures on my Twitter, the view was incredible. But
I know I did. I was jealous. I was like,
it was amazing, right? I mean, I was balling. But here's the thing: at that same time, the TCL party was apparently really good too, and there was a bunch of big influencers there. So.
Yeah, TCL, they're trying to win you over.
I'm telling you, man.
You messed up, Travis. You went to TCL.
Well, I got to hang with Michael Fisher, which was cool. MKBHD was there
well.
But at the other one, Mr. Who's the Boss and Super Staff, who I briefly met, we're working on. And I Jason and I and Jeff bumped into Sarah Dici at one point. It was weird. I bumped into Austin Evans like 2 or 3 times. It was just cool to walk around and see some of my favorite creators just walking around. Like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, that's awesome.
How you doing? Yeah,
it's like you're all in this space. You're all kind of like there for the same reason. All like-minded people. Yeah, I should have went.
Next year. I'll tell you though, I learned enough this year that I'll have a different strategy next year. I wanted to go and just kind of enjoy, which I will still try to do to some degree. I suspect that there will be more meetings and stuff that when I go next time. But one strategy is like where even to stay. MGM wasn't too bad because it was in the middle, but the traffic that it was like, the traffic's terrible. It is terrible. People were telling me the traffic's bad. It is terrible. It was ridiculous. Okay, we got a chat question in chat. Let's see. Hello guys, do you think TCL will be a player in the mobile phone market? Okay, well, we just talked about that a little bit. There's so many. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but we never actually answered that question directly. So I think that with these $500 phones they're coming out with, they very well could. My guess is they'll use the leverage of them. So for example, they sell a lot on Amazon and Best Buy. They will probably leverage that distribution and say, hey, we got a new phone coming out. Would you guys like to carry it? And it's at a pretty decent price. We think people are going to buy it. Now, from there, it's all about like advertising and stuff. What I saw, the phones were beautiful. In person, they were beautiful for like $400 and $500. They were beautiful. If their cameras are decent, then yes. But there's so many variables here. If they don't sell on like Amazon, and if they can get into a carrier, then they're really assured some success. But it's a little early to tell, but they will be aggressive about it.
It is super early to tell. But if they do come in and they're aggressive and they can get into the carrier market, that's the most important part. I'd say they have an excellent shot at becoming a major player in the phone market, especially when you consider in America there aren't options like Huawei here. And because TCL is not in this networking business that Huawei is, that you know the U.S. government seems to think is a big threat, they obviously can sell TVs here no problem. If they can walk in and sell a phone because they're not involved in that networking business, TCL in like 5 years, they might surpass Huawei if they can get into the US market. And if they can build up there and they're popular in China and every other market, because you know, if you're playing that low budget phone game, you know, if you're facing against Huawei and you have a very similar phone and people in the US are using it and people in China are using it, that brand name is just going to carry forward and it could have a huge chance to be a major player, which is crazy to think about. Because you know, if you told me that TCL is going to get into the phone business, I'd be like, wait, really? The TV?
I would be like, no, I don't.
But then you see the phones and you're like, okay, these might have a shot. Like Travis said, like 5G's coming, and this is going to be an affordable 5G phone. Maybe the carriers might want that. They might want these phones there going, you know what? We're going to have a major push with 5G. We're going to have like this $500 phone right here. And we can get a lot of customers coming in saying, hey, switch to our 5G network. We're going to give you this free 5G phone. That could be the TCL phone. And yeah, I think if they could play their hands right in the US market, they could be bigger than Huawei. And that's big.
Yeah. Wow. 100% right. Because right now all the 5G phones are $1,000. So that's kind of a big deal. I might actually make a video about that. It sounds like a good idea to make a video about. Last time I said that on the Gadget Cast, we ended up with quite the video. So I'm gonna leave it right there.
There you go.
And call that good. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Okay. Anything else, Greg, before we go?
I think we should let Travis get some sleep. This is the beginning of the new year. There was so much tech. So I'm sure throughout the year, you know, we're going to have recurring conversations about a lot of the stuff that was at CES. So I think we can end it here, Travis.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it next year. And thank you for anyone who came up and said hi. I appreciate you greatly. And certainly if you see me or Greg around, make sure you say hi. We definitely enjoy and appreciate you greatly.
No, don't say hi to me.
Definitely
distance, say hi. You know,
Greg loves hugs. Make sure that you hug him like hard.
No.
He loves it. He loves touch. So that'll do it for us today. If you're watching on YouTube right now, the full audio quality version of this will be available on Monday. It's crystal clear and sounds so sexy. But we will see you again real soon. We appreciate you. Peace and love. We'll see you. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. Nice.
We did it. We're alive.
We did it. Thanks, live chat people. We're gonna head out now. But I appreciate you. So we'll see you next time.
As always.
Peace.